So this is like some full gameplay IGN posted yesterday of Dragon Age Veilguard. This is probably the biggest game that I'm excited for all year. So let's check it out.
What's up, everybody? I'm Kat Bailey, and this is our extended look at Dragon Age The Veilguard's gameplay. I'm here with BioWare lead developers Corinne
This
Bush
gameplay look
and
ashy.
John
I check my
Epler.
freaking quality.
Corinne, what are we looking at today?
Hey y'all, so today we're going to be helping out one of our companions, Davrin. This is part of his personal arc to rescue the Griffins long thought extinct. We're going to take a quick journey through the lighthouse, your base of operations.
It just looks like
we're going to
very,
head into
like,
the
grayish to,
crossroads
like, the visuals.
and make our way to the dark swamps of Hossberg wetlands.
So you're in the lighthouse, as Corinne mentioned. This is your base of operations that you inherited willingly or unwillingly from Solus. It
There's a
is
Canary?
located in the Fade. It's where Solus was able to
So your
start
hub base is
planning
inside the
his
Fade. That's
rebellion
pretty
against the
interesting.
Elven gods millennia ago. Right now, you and your team have occupied it, started to
If like
build-
those who don't know about the lore Dragon Age, the Fade is basically like a place of magic, but it's also kind of like the afterlife, like the games universe. Like when people die, their spirits go to the Fade, but also at the same time, the source of magic comes from the Fade too. So like basically when something becomes tranquil, what you cut off is their connection to the freaking Fade. And that's also how people become blood mages and how people become corrupted. Is they talk to bad spirits and bad demons who are located in the Fade. So it's pretty interesting that like your essential hub area for your game, because every game kind of has like a home base essentially. In Inquisition, it was Skyhold Temple. And freaking Dragon Age 2 Hulk had his own little town mansion. Dragon Age 1. No, there was Whitehall in the Awakening DLC. I don't remember what your hub area wasn't like the main game. It was a camp. You just had a camp. So this is all this kind of stuff. Is like you have a camp essentially, and now instead of like just like an actual camp, is a location in the Fade.
It started to shape itself around your personality. As Corinne mentioned, we are going to go talk to Davrin, which is who is
Erase the
located
shit
up
again.
above. And each of these spaces kind of shapes itself around your companions as they live there.
It's a level up. So when you want to level up, you can see on your thing that someone. I think it's like someone you can talk to. I don't think it's
The
level
glowing
up.
light above indicates Davrin's ready for us. Let's check in with him.
Something
Is that a
wrong?
baby griffin?
We got a message. A place called the Cauldron was attacked.
That's some sort of Grey Warden tavern.
Yeah, that is like the most pristine looking Canary I've ever freaking seen. Like this looked like a CW pretty boy Canary. Like this, like Canary usually look a little brutish and intimidating. I'll show y'all. I'm just making sure I don't see anything we don't need to see because you know the internet is. Trying to get kicked off freaking Twitch. Show y'all some shit. This is what most Canary in the game look like when it comes to like actual in-game stuff. Like see like how, you know, they look brutish. They don't look like pretty boys. This is someone's creation in Dragon Age Inquisition, so that's not like an in-game Canary. That's a character created Canary. This is like the Aeroshock. He's like one of the main bad guys of Dragon Age 2. Like, just look at like how just dark and evil he. Not all Canary look evil, but like, you know, most Canary they don't look like pretty boys. They look intimidating. They look terrifying. Yes, Sten, who's like the main one of your companions in Dragon Age. This is what the original Canary looked. They changed them up to look different, or they just look like regular ass humans, but just very, very big and tall. But even Sten looked like he, you know, a little intimidating. Trying to see. I don't want to scroll down too much because I didn't screen all the way down. Go Iron Bull. Be careful. You gotta be careful when I look at that one up because I know some of you Dragon Age girls, y'all little out there with Iron Bull. I ain't trying to see no Iron Bull dick. But this Iron Bull, he's one of your companions in Dragon Age Inquisition. Again, very intimidating looking character. This Canary,
Warden
this looks like a pretty boy.
No idea what goes on there.
Then why are you involved?
Because whatever attacked it sounds like the Gloomhowler.
It could just because again it is a character creator, so the character
earlier in
person who made
Davrin's
the
arc,
character
we were
probably just
introduced
looked
to
wanted to make their
his
Canary
nemesis,
look
the
young
Gloomhowler,
and
creature that's been hunting
desirable,
and stalking
which
wardens
in general
to
I
fight
kind of think is like a negative, not for the game, but like just a negative for like people who make characters. If you take a character who generally is supposed to look intimidating and a brute, and you make them a pretty boy, I feel like you're missing out on the identity of that kind of character. So people make their own characters. They tend to do that. They'll take characters who are known to be, you know, less attractive, for example, try to make them attractive. That was with Baldur's Gate 3. People were installing mods to try to give the Yankee look more attractive. And it's like that's like, as an artist myself, I feel like that's an insult to the people who made the characters. Like, you think their characters are so ugly, you need them pretty. You're trying to make these characters, you know, fuckable, essentially, saying that their game look is not attractive enough. Like, this isn't like a Canary at all. This looks just like a human with horns.
some time. It's kidnapped a bunch of other griffins. Davrin has been trying to track it down. Now he's got a lead, so we're going to go find this and go track this thing down.
Now, Davrin, he prefers the direct approach. We're going to choose a tough response and see if we can get his approval.
Then let's get rid of it.
Had the same thought. What's left of the wardens are still licking their wounds. So we handle this alone. Just go to the cauldron and get the griffins back. You have to promise to behave, boy. Listen to every word I say, stay out of trouble, don't do anything dumb, and don't eat any.
I think we get the point.
Lancet and Remy told me there's a word for the bond between a griffin and warden moving as one. Turlum. Until Hassan and I have that, I'm supposed to keep him safe.
I have to say that I find the griffin adorable.
And very importantly, I know this is a question on everyone's mind. Yes, you can pet Hassan.
Well, thank goodness for that. And all right, what are we going to be doing next?
He's up for this.
All right, we're going to finish getting this information from Davrin on the Gloomhowler, and we'll be off to Hossberg and the Crossroads.
Yeah, honestly, it looks weird.
Warden and Griffin starts by having faith in each
I'm not
other.
used to seeing Canary, like, I'm understanding this first because, like, I should also mention this because I'm pretty sure if I upload this to YouTube, it'll be someone who's like, well, actually, don't actually mean, because I know exactly what you're going to freaking say. When it comes to Canary, like, this guy's, you know, full-blown Canary, but he just made him look like a pretty boy. The Canary is not just a race, it's also a religion. So you can be an elf who is part of the Kun, believe in Canary belief. You can be a human who believes in Canary belief, things like that, like Talus in Dragon Age 2 DLC. She was Canary. She was, you know, elf. And it's also possible, like, maybe, you know, because again, this is a character created character. So this isn't like BioWare's creation. You could have someone who, you know, because again, sometimes you take your own character, you want to have like your own backstory for your character. Maybe this is someone who's mixed race. Maybe there's someone who's half Canary and half elf, half Canary and half human. It's possible.
Maybe. I suppose you were born for this sort of fight, boy. All talents and temper.
And a sharp tongue to remind you of it.
As long as he backs it up.
So I assume that Hassan can be helpful during the gameplay.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, a lot of Davrin's abilities revolve around calling Hassan in the heat of battle. I in particularly love when you're going against enemies.
The aesthetic of
to
this
see
game is so
Hassan
nice.
swoop
Yes,
down,
Dragon Age in general always had
especially
nice
if it
aesthetic.
triggers a combo between your companions.
As Corinne mentioned earlier, one of the interesting, fun things we've done is if you see the lights on in a room, companions have something to say, you can see Harding up in that space there.
Oh.
Nev,
So one of the things about BioWare games is, you know, the way I used to do it was at every mission I go talk to my companions, but what they're doing in this game is they're just going to like have an actual way of letting you know, hey, there's new dialogue here. Usually that's like when you find out someone had new dialogue is either A, they'll tell you, you know, after a mission, like, hey, can we have a chat, and then you gotta go find them. That's when it's like an important conversation. But a lot of times, you know, you wouldn't know if someone wants to have a conversation with you until you actually went ahead and you know, when they're gonna talk to them. So like in this game, they're making it a little more like, this is kind of like a quality of life change, where like they'll just notify you in game with a visual representation of, hey, this character needs to talk to you. They're doing it is by these lamps light up when a character wants to talk to you or has new
behind you
dialogue.
as well, and Delara, But we have a mission ahead of us. We're going to go find the Gloomhowler if we can, and we're going to go through the Crossroads in order to do that. And the Crossroads, if you've played previous Dragon Age games, Trespasser in particular, is a location in the Fade that contains a number of Illuvians, allowing you to travel across Thedas in a matter of minutes. But
Remember when
at this
Illuvians
point,
were
the
unique and
Crossroads are under
special?
assault by the other elven gods. It's a dangerous place, and we are going to be in for a bit of a fight.
And this Illuvian, the Vera Voss, is the central focus point of the lighthouse. This is going to take
So-
us to Sol.
Again, we're pausing again pretty early, but in Dragon Age 1, because the way Dragon Age 1 worked, because like how you make your character, is you pick a background for your character, and that background was unique for that particular character that you made. So if you made a Dalish elf in Dragon Age 1, your starting mission would be you and I forgot what her name was, other girl guy. You go to an ancient temple. There's an Illuvian in that temple. I'm not gonna like spoil all that, because I know Dragon Age 1 is like, oh, maybe someone sees Dragon Age The Veilguard, it's like, you know what, I want to try Origins. I don't want to like spoil it. Those people who are good franchise, like, oh damn, you ruined it. Like basically, that's what like you first hear about the Illuvian. And that's also I kind of like missed about Dragon Age games. I kind of missed, you know, how unique make your character used to be. You know, in Dragon Age 2, Hawk is Hawk. You know, you don't really choose Hawk to be an elf. You don't choose Hawk to be a dwarf. Hawk is just Hawk. The only unique character thing that you would pick about Hawk at the beginning of the game was if Hawk was or wasn't a mage. And if you made him a mage, you can like, you know, take anything like a circle mage. Inquisition also kind of missed that as well. I doubt this game will have that Dragon Age 1 had when it came to, you know, making your own character. Such a unique starting thing. Because like if you made like a human noble, you were like Terran Kuzlin's son, you're like this high noble. You know, you're like the second son who is still protected by the mom, and you're not really ready for like military, like things like that. If you want to be like an elf but not be Dalish, you can be like a city elf, but you're kind of like more like you live this and like poverty and things like that. Like it was just unique and different.
Solas's pocket area of the Crossroads, and it might look a little bit different from what you've seen in Trespasser.
Can you tell us a little bit about the role that the Crossroads plays in the structure and the gameplay?
Yeah, so the Crossroads is, again, it's the area that you spend a lot of time traveling through as you go from area to area. It's also a space that has, at one point, served as Solas's main base of operations and training ground for his rebellion against the Elven gods. So as you go through it, you're going to find fragments of the past, the things that Solas had done previously that are going to give you a bit of insight into Solas as a character, but also into the Elven gods and their motivations.
Some of my favorite content that you'll find if you go exploring in the Crossroads is these opportunities to actually relive some of the memories Solas had during his rebellion. You actually get to take part in this ancient rebellion.
That's a nice
And
outfit.
here we have the
Given that.
caretaker, a mysterious spirit that was actually here before Solas was and started to help Solas with his rebellion, but also to turn this into a safe haven for spirits. Again, as I mentioned before, the gods are assaulting the Crossroads, so it's no longer the safe haven it once was.
So we saw like the
But you're
party
gonna work with this
icon.
caretaker
It only
to quite
showed a Scout Harding and that one chick fighter name. And you only have a party of 3. I remember like it wasn't like a party of 4. You have because you think like Cassandra, Varric, Solas, and yourself. So you have like a party of 4. So did they make it to like a party of 3 now instead of party of 4? They did kind of set like their downsides, like the game scope.
add a large amount of ancillary content to rebuild this into that safe home for these creatures that, if anyone knows Solas, he has a tremendous amount of affection for spirits.
All right, now we're gonna get into combat here, and this time we're playing as a mage. Now, mage is one of my favorite classes to play. It's primarily a ranged attacker.
It's a very
and when we're
simplistic UI,
surrounded
but also
by
kind of cluttery
swarming
at the same
darkspawn,
time.
I really have to use a variety of
Might be better playing
strategies to
PC.
control the battlefield. I'm gonna use my heavy charged attacks to knock down
Controller
these fools,
scheme
get them out of the way.
UI is
And
always
of course,
a little.
darkspawn are vulnerable to fire, so we made sure to equip our fire staff and
I
our
smell
fire
a
abilities on
dark
hand.
spawn.
You may notice something about the Darkspawn too, that they look a little bit different.
That's
than they
other
have
uniqueness
previously.
that this
And
franchise
part of that
missing
is
now. So back to like Dragon Age Origins. In Dragon Age Origins, you play as a Grey Warden, and Grey Wardens can sense Darkspawn. So every now and then, when you're like somewhere that's kind of like being invaded, not invaded, but like where the Darkspawn will tend to be around, your character will say, "I smell a Darkspawn," basically like hinting that they can sense that the Darkspawn is near. Just it's like a small, unique thing that the newer games lack because you don't play as a Grey Warden. You would think they at least have the Grey Warden characters, kind of say the same thing though.
because Gillenane, who has always been focused on using the Blight as essentially a crafting material, a way to alter life itself, has been enhancing and changing these Darkspawn as part of her army.
Corinne, I noticed that you were doing a combo opportunity. Can you tell us a little bit more about how the role
There's
that
ice
plays
abilities
in
and a
the
healing
actual
ability.
combat?
But you can
Yes,
also,
so the combat.
pretty sure there's talk about it as well, but I'm just pointing out what I'm saying. Like you can do like a combo attack where you're not involved in it, but it involves your other two allies, like up here. But this looks like like when I say they downsized, then what they really downsized. Like you used to be able to have like so many more abilities in this. Like you don't have as many abilities anymore.
System in this game, the deep strategy behind it is really to manage the various abilities your companions and Rook have in concert. So in this case, Harding has a combo opportunity with Shred. It's going to apply the Sundered effect and deal a high amount of stagger. Now you'll notice I can combo that with Rook's ability Spirit Bomb. That's going to cause a detonation combo.
So, again, one of the things you'll notice about the terrain here is it's very snowy, very mountainous. The Crossroads is a realm that reflects the waking world. In this case, it's an amalgamation of all the real world spaces that are tied to it. In the case, we've got Hosper, we've got other mountainous regions. So it's kind of this mix of the swamp. And as you'll see, as we move towards these alluvions, the architecture around them very clearly reflects what's on the other side. We're not going to spoiler and tell you exactly what's on the other side, but you maybe make a few guesses based on what you're seeing.
Do I
You've already
have to
seen
do
some
the
of those
crossroads,
dwarven
or can I
at
just
top
fast
left.
travel right through?
So it depends how you progress through the game. The first time you go to any of the new regions in the world, you'll traverse the crossroads to get there. Subsequent times, we of course support fast travel, but it behooves you to actually go back and explore the crossroads as some of the deepest
So
secrets.
were there
lie
not like
within.
actual exploration in the game? Like you remember, like Inquisition was pretty much like an open world game when it comes to like exploration. You go to the hinterlands and you go around the entirety of the hinterlands and explore it. Like one scene right now looks like that it won't be that open anymore. It's looking at more like an open situation, being pointed back towards like Dragon Age 2. You didn't really explore an open world sense. It's like you travel to locations, like you would travel from Kirkwall to like a dwarven freaking location, or you travel from Kirkwall to a Dalish camp. You wouldn't like actually just travel there yourself. You just pick a local scene.
So now you're in Hosberg Wetland. It's an area that has been almost completely consumed by the Blight. The Grey Wardens have set up an outpost here. Again, if you know anything about the Grey Wardens, they fight the Blight anywhere they see it. And they're noticing something strange is going on here. The Blight is not behaving as they expect them to.
I'm gonna go back a little bit to Grey Warden design.
With the Grey
They're always
Wardens,
changing
they
the
fight
Warden
Blight
design.
anywhere
This
they see
design
it.
kind of looks
And
like they're combining a little bit of the look from the first one. They kind of had like a more unique looking helmet in the first game. Like they're redesigning Grey Wardens again. I feel like one of the things that developers do that they don't need to do is constantly redesigning how characters look. You can make them look better without redesigning the characters. Like that's a possibility to do. For whatever reason, when it comes to developers, I feel like in order for things to be new, but the game still to be new, they had to change up how things look. You could have easily kept like I think Inquisition had a great look for Grey Ward. They could have kept that look and just made it better by having like more detail in armor plating, things like that, without having to like just reinvent the wheel. This is the same complaint people have about Dragon Age 2. And they changed how Darkspawn look, and it's like, oh, they look so much better in Dragon Age Origins. Like, you don't have to keep changing up how things look. You can keep things like the same. I complain about this game. I think Morgan redesign is necessary. Like, Morgan used to have like a great amazing aesthetic to her, and now they've changed her how she looked, and it's like it wasn't necessary.
Noticing something strange is going on here. The blight is not behaving as they expect it to, and as it historically has. So they've set up shop in this place called Lavendel, and you are here to work with them, help them out, and help them find an answer to the questions about the blight that they're asking.
An armorer.
Tell me a little bit more about this area. It looks a little bit like a hub where you can get a lot of quests and things like that.
That's right. So here we find one of the bases of the Grey Wardens. So you'll see they've really built up a small fighting force here to hold off the Darkspawn. What's more, the Grey Wardens are a faction we're going to be working with throughout the game. We've got Holden, one of the Grey Warden quartermasters. We're actually going to upgrade his shop and see what items he has in store for us, see if maybe it gives us an edge in combat.
This is letting us know
And the
that
Grey Wardens,
shops get
like
better
the other
gear
factions,
if we
they
ourselves upgrade the
understand
shops.
stakes of the gods being out. They want to help you, but you need to help them first. They have, again, as Kryn mentioned, they're holding off the Darkspawn here. They have other priorities, so getting them more powerful allows them to more meaningfully contribute to your fight against the Elven gods.
So where are we going next?
All right, so we're heading out of the Grey Warden Fortress into the
Man,
small
said,
town
"Fuck
of
stairs."
Lavendel. Now, this used to be a beautiful place full of life, flowers, and you can see what effect the blight has had. But the residents are still here. They're trying to make the most of their lives, and you can see there's plenty of opportunities to help them. In fact, we're going to quickly check in with Finn the physician and see what he has in store for us.
So Flynn, again, one of the focuses of this game is characters, not causes.
I've been busy with patients, but I'm short on medical supplies. My mentor, Oscar, he should have some. He
His
has a cabin
eyebrows are on
outside the
point.
village. If you're out there,
Like a
tell me
war
yourself
breaking
Flynn,
out, but
and
homie gets his
he needs
eyebrows
help.
done.
And Flynn is a warden who you will do quests with. We wanted to make sure that the side content of Dragon Age The Veilguard felt as meaningful and tied to the overall conflict of the game as anything else you do. We don't want you to just go off and do random tasks. Everything needs to feel meaningful, either contributing to your fight against the gods or contributing to the growth of your companions and the factions that you need at your side to stop the gods.
You look a bit worried.
We're not sure where some of our wardens are. Beckett
Kinda
and
batty.
a few others. We're supposed to check in.
Unless you want to
We
date her,
need to
don't you
look
great
out for
warden?
each other more than ever.
They ain't got great
It's
lives.
just, I know they took Weishaupt hard, and I hope they're okay.
Very, very sad
All
ending.
right, so we picked up a couple of quests in Lavendel, but we're here to help Davrin. So we're going to make our way through the perils of Hosberg and try to get to this Warden Fortress of the Cauldron.
Seeing a lot of kind of organic matter. I suppose that's the blight.
Absolutely. So the blight at this point, as mentioned before, the wardens understand it's changed. It's become a lot more organic, a lot more alive. You're back in Dragon Age 2, Inquisition, Origins. The blight, while it was a slow-moving wall, it didn't have this almost sentience, this almost thought behind it. And obviously, we've talked about how the gods that are out are blighted. That probably has something to do with it, and it's made this area far more
I get it.
dangerous
Like,
than
so
it
basically, what
was
you're trying to
before.
say is the blight now is alive, essentially. Like, you can see it growing in places that you go to. In Dragon Age 1, you only really noticed that the blight was somewhere by just seeing dead bodies in the Darkspawn. There's no environmental look to the blight. So this is just giving the world better world building. It's where like you can see the blight. Kind of like thinking like Gears of War, where like you can see where the locusts have been because like that fleshy disgustingness is we cover like locations and whatnot.
And you might notice as we get into combat with some of these Darkspawn that they do look a little bit different than before, and that's very intentional. Gillenane, the god of monsters, she uses blight like a medium to sculpt and warp the Darkspawn to do her bidding, to suit her purposes.
So right now you'll see a couple of Hurlocks, one with some pretty disgusting growths on its back. Again, the idea that the Darkspawn and the Blight is an organic weapon. They're not just coming out and, making swords, making armor, they're using the blight to augment themselves so they can more effectively defeat you and also give the gods the world.
Basically, a story reason why they're redesigning the characters again.
All right,
Again,
now I'm
Dragon
actually
Age
going to
redesigned
switch to
them.
my Orb and Dagger on the mage. And those of you that were fans of the Knight Enchanter in Dragon Age Inquisition, you might feel right at home with this. This is a more melee-focused, more agile version
Basically,
of the
multi-classing.
mage.
You can just be
One of
a
the main
systematic
mechanics
attack
here
kind
is
of
you can use this elemental orb
mage
to
with range
apply
magic, or you can
stacks of
freaking switch to be
elemental
melee
damage to the
and his
enemy,
ass beat.
and then unleash them with your dagger to detonate them.
Maybe he's just making just cast
So,
spells because
Again,
up close
we're
and personal ain't going very good
you'll
for him.
notice that there are blight pools. The darkspawn aren't just coming out of nowhere. The blight is spawning them. Again, part of Gilneain's attempt to turn this into an army for the gods is to use these darkspawn, not just, again, whereas you have the Venatori and the Antam, one case representing magical power, in the other case representing physical strength, the darkspawn are representing overwhelming force.
That was a pretty clutch heal a little earlier, by the way.
You know, we've talked at length before.
See,
that,
another reason why I think it'd
our
probably be better to
fans
play this game on
have asked-
PC than console. When it comes to like signaling to your allies to do a combo, it's probably gonna be like a hot bar on the bottom of the screen, like in most PC RPGs, where you just hit that and now do it. Versus console, you gotta pull up this whole cluttered freaking little UI in the middle of the screen, and then hit a combination of freaking buttons, just one tapping something.
us, where is the healing magic? Can you bring it back? And Nev in this game, happy to oblige with a kit of healing spells.
So one of the interesting things that I love about our companions is each of them, their abilities, the way that they're built, they're very thematically appropriate to the character. They're very focused on making sure that the gameplay and the narrative are as closely aligned as possible. In the case of Nev versus Vlar versus Amrik, our mages, each of them has a healing ability that is thematically appropriate to them. It makes sense when you know them as a character.
Watching you play, I'm struck by sort of the size and the scope.
You need to end up
of this
exploring.
particular
This is a
area.
Bioware
It
game.
seems
Supposed to be
like there's
exploring, looking
a
for
lot of
freaking loot and
exploration
stuff.
that I can be doing right here.
That was really one of our goals with these areas.
Oh, hey,
of
that's
course, we
like
are
a
a mission-based
frog-looking
game,
alligator.
but we really emphasize player autonomy. You can revisit these spaces. They're full of secrets, puzzles, some pretty incredible bosses and treasure. And of course, as we saw earlier in Lavendel, some really narratively rich side quests.
One thing that's interesting is you'll find we're going on a quest for Davrin, but Davrin is not currently in our party. That's because Davrin has gone ahead of us and is waiting for us at the Cauldron. This is,
So
again, we
is
want
it,
the followers, the companions,
you know,
to feel like they have
3 companions in yourself,
autonomy.
and the reason why you don't have
while they
the
won't
third companions
complete
because
the
this
quest on their own, they
mission
will
dictates
go
it.
ahead and get things ready. So when you get there, you can have you talk to them, you have a conversation with them, and it feels like they are as invested in the success of their journey, their stories, as you are.
This looks like a pretty contiguous zone, is that right?
Man, it's a
It
Sarah
is,
boss.
yes, so it's full of branching paths, different areas to explore. And what I love is the more content you do in the area, the more shortcuts you're going to discover. You're really going to have a lot more flexibility in how you navigate
Sarah bosses with
between
Canary
the
call their
remaining
mages.
missions and quests.
Well, I think something really interesting too about the way that our team has built these spaces is there's the idea of each
guy's
space
playing
has its
Canary.
own story to tell.
Magic.
And while those quests, you know, we talked earlier about those quests and side quests being narratively relevant, they also contribute to a more of a meta story about the space itself. So in the case of Hosberg, we talked about how this is an area surrounded by blight, and you're kind of getting to the center of what exactly is going on in Hosberg and Lavendel, and these quests that you do and the content Corinne is currently engaged in helps to tell that story.
All right, we can see our companions are up here attacking this dark spawn on their own. Let's give them a quick hand. All right, and I love positional gameplay. Making
Weird that
use
Scout
of the
Hardy was getting to close
environments
quarters
for
combat when she's an
advantage.
archer.
And I just saw that you could do a takedown move, so it's kind of a finishing move.
You can. Now, in this particular build,
You know how
I'm
video
really
games
focused
archers
on
are kind of
using
just viewed as
necromantic
like long
energies to
range,
siphon life
mid
force.
range
But if I, for
attackers.
instance,
No,
wanted to go
IRL
the stagger
archery is
route,
definitely
I
more
could go
mid
a
range,
full
close range thing.
takedown build if I like.
That's why horse bows
It's
exist.
a
So you
really
want to get close in, close in, with a freaking
powerful,
shorter bow,
heavy-hitting style
a
of
pack a
gameplay.
punch.
All right.
Use the longbow
So
for
you'll
get
notice
the long
Davern's
range.
waiting for us. So let's go see what he has to say. Hassan flies in.
Yeah, a bad day at the cauldron.
What could do that?
What have they been hiding inside?
Armor looks so good.
So something
Not
throwing
him.
through the gate, that's
Freaking
probably
a
not
great warden
great.
dude.
Looks like we should probably get moving.
We won't find out standing around here.
Be ready for anything.
I know it's more of a style, but that hat's ugly as hell. Like I'm sure, like I guess like a cultural like design choice for that character to have like that hat on the side of her head. It looks like that.
Nev and Harding
Yeah.
along to clear a path for ourselves to find Davern and get to where he is.
Can you talk a little bit about how Nev and Harding sort of synergize during the combat?
Yeah, so Nev and Harding, Nev is a mage, Harding is a rogue, and each of the classes, and you can build and party entirely of one class if you want, but the idea is that the classes synergize and they can set up and detonate each other's abilities in a very interesting way. Now, because you have a lot of freedom,
Taking a page out of freaking Mass Effect.
Again, as said, you can have
Mass Effect 2, Mass
all
Effect
rogue
3,
party, all
Inquisition.
mage
You
party,
can
all warrior party, and it
basically
still works.
combine
But in this
elements,
case,
different
Nev
party
and
members.
Harding
Kind of like a
are
constant,
very
not constant,
effective
but like
at
elements will
setting up and detonating. In this
explosion.
case, as Corinne's going to show.
So we're in danger here, and this is really what I love about the tactical layer of combat. If you get in that clutch situation where you've got this devastating incoming attack, great time to pause gameplay, weigh your options, and in this case, I'm going to go back to our combo here and see if I can just quickly get out of the way. All right. You can see I've applied siphoning to these enemies, so I'm actually going to be leeching their health when I use my mage beam. Now you'll notice there's blight boils throughout the area, and that's part of our philosophy on the combat encounters. If I don't destroy these blight boils, ghouls are going to continue to emerge. So I'm really focused on what targets do I take down first. This enemy is a little bit weaker. I think I'm going to have my companions focus on them while I deal with this grenadier that's given me some problem.
Yeah, I will say, and that's no, I'm not on the stick. Corinne is much better at this game than I am, and this
You say that?
Well, most of the time, yes, 100%.
You saying this person's better than you at this game? This person has been near death multiple freaking times. If this person's better than you at this game, and you one of the developers, and they go look.
But each enemy, again,
Also, war
really
timing
aiming
on
at the
that
Grenadier.
comment.
What I love about the Grenadiers is they basically rip off pieces of themselves and throw them at you, which explode as blight. And again, really leaning to the idea that the blight is organic and disgusting.
One thing that I'm noticing is that the combat encounters can get pretty intense. You end up fighting a lot of different enemies. You can absolutely die if you're not careful.
Yes, and this, as we mentioned earlier, this is well into the game. So combat counters have really ramped up, and it really shows the importance of positioning, using your companions wisely, and looking for those synergies and combos.
Positioning, like dude died.
This is interesting. We just went down. We've built our companions to be able to come to
You get
our
a revive,
aid.
so you
we're
don't
actually
full
gonna use
die.
a revive here. And Nev to the rescue.
And as Corinne mentioned, this is later in the game, and Hosberg itself is a...
So that's another like redesign choice, because generally in Dragon Age, if your character dies, you can swap to another character and just go over there and revive them. Or some people have like a revive spell they can just pick up with. It's like they're making it where you have to have a revive token essentially, and you want to get like one by the looks of 1 of 1. So basically, you want to get revived, and if you die again, you're just dead. It's not going to be like based on your, because generally in Dragon Age, you don't full die unless all your squad dies. It's like they're changing that, so we're like if you die twice,
what I would consider a later game area. and the encounter is a little bit more challenging. It's a more dangerous space. This shows up in the encounter, but it also shows up in the visuals, the storytelling here. This is a place that you don't want to be. You don't want to be in Hossberg. It is full of darkspawn, full of blight, and generally not a pleasant place to be.
Well, we'll be able to explore more of the Cauldron when Dragon Age The Veilguard comes out on October 31st. In the meantime, we are going to be continuing on with our IGN First coverage of Dragon Age for the rest of September. And for everything that's great about games and RPGs, keep
That'll look good. You know, from a Dragon Age fan standpoint, yeah, it looks like Dragon Age. I have high expectations for it. We'll see if it delivers on those expectations. We shall see.